We're happy that you are joining us, and we look forward to showing you the highest quality artwork in the television market today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Fine Art Auction. But first, the rules. All bidders must be registered, and if you're going to bid, make sure you know all the rules. First of all, there is a 10% buyer's premium added to each winning bid. Bidders will be responsible for shipping. All works are guaranteed to be as described, or you don't own it, and you may return it to us for a full and prompt refund. If for any other reason you decide to return your purchase, you may do so for up to 7 days after receipt. But in this case, the buyer's premium and shipping are non-refundable. It is mandatory that you obtain a RMA number for all returns. To obtain this number, simply call customer service during normal business hours. All artwork must be received back to us in exactly the same condition as when it was shipped. Please visit the shopabc.com website for a full list of terms and conditions that apply to all of our auctions. And now, from our studios in Atlanta, it's the Fine Art Auction. We've got works from the masters, the latest up-and-coming street art, and Richard's featured work. From Atlanta to Los Angeles to New York, it's the Fine Art Auction, live!
Well, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fine Art Auction coming from our studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got a very, very special day, a special event for you. We've flown an absolute genius in from Berlin, and ladies and gentlemen, it is of course our international art star Kef appearing live this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause? Simon will be joining us very, very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, he's responsible for these works. These are the museum collection. I'll be playing you various videos, and this is one of the famous totems which was displayed in the museum in Germany. Directly beneath us, ladies and gentlemen, is something extraordinary. That's not actually in the show today, but I just wanted to show you the type of variety of things that is coming up. This will be in our big auction on Sunday night if you want to check your local listings. So that's one of the many items, the beautiful porcelain charger. That's on Sunday night, so you can check your local listings. But this is in the auction, and it is, let's zoom in on this fabulous hand-signed, hand-painted, beautiful, one-of-a-kind handbag by Kef, and that is a sensational piece, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll be telling you the story behind that. I will be interviewing very, very briefly Simon. As you know, we have a high-powered, highly charged show here on a Saturday morning on CNBC. And ladies and gentlemen, so we'll give you as much information as we possibly can. And then if we could just focus on this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our executive producer of the show, he has given me the opportunity to offer you this work this morning. And what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, I will only put it in the show this morning if I can get a fair opening bid. Now, what is a fair opening bid for something like that? Well, you'll see by the videos we've sold his works, large pieces like this, in excess of $50,000, $60,000. I think the top one on the show was $69,000 with the buyer's premium. So paintings like this can reach anywhere up to about 100,000 nowadays around the world in the galleries. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do this. I think a fair bid for it is somewhere in the region of 35 to 45,000. Would you say that's fair, John, for something like this? 35 to 45,000. What I'm going to do to give everyone a chance here on CNBC to participate in the auction for this major piece, and don't forget, this original, I will have him personally dedicate it to you this morning if someone is willing to place a bid on it. If someone will phone in and give me an opening bid of at least $10,000, I will put it in the show today. If not, we'll save it. It will go in the big show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So it's up to you. But obviously, a lot more bidders follow the show, have been following the show for nearly 20 years. So it's up to you. I'll give you an opportunity this morning. If someone will place an opening bid and pledge an opening bid of $10,000, I will bring it in this morning and start the auction. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Kev will be appearing in approximately 1 hour from now. So get tuned, get ready for that. But in the meantime, we've got a great auction for you. Some amazing pieces coming up. We have a feature by Salvador Dali, and then we will be offering the work of Banksy. Banksy, the most famous street artist in the world, and then Kev, who is one of the great street artists of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, so we're about to get underway. I have our wonderful art expert with us this morning, Leif. He will be joining us in a few moments now, ladies and gentlemen, but very quickly, let's just play you a quick video of our guest artists flown in from Berlin this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Kev.
Every line, every curve, every color, every breath held and every breath released. Art is created. Every moment spent in Berlin, creating this style. Every moment spent in Shanghai, mastering this style. Every moment of doubt, every moment of joy. Hours painting, years of creating. Harmony, peace, tranquility. With every collaboration, with every exhibition, his name grows.
Sold!
California!
Sold it under my
Sold
sold at $41,000.
Sold at 63.
With every hammer drop and every piece sold, now is the time for Kev.
Great. Well, he's joining us here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. And as we say, just flew in last night. He arrived all the way from Berlin. We can't believe it. We're very fortunate to have him on the show. And that is our guest artist, Kev. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start the show. Let's just focus on this first piece. This is from 1964, and it is the incredible work of Salvador Dali.
Salvador Dali is among the most versatile and prolific artists of the 20th century, and of course, the most famous surrealist. Though chiefly remembered for his painterly output over the course of his long career, he successfully turned to sculpture, printmaking, fashion, advertising, writing, and perhaps most famously, filmmaking.
If you go to the Dali Museum in Spain, you'll see a painting called Leda Atomica. There's no brushstrokes. It looks ethereal, doesn't even look real. He would paint with one eyelash, and he would build his own brushes.
Dali was renowned for his flamboyant personality and the role of a mysterious provocateur as much as he was for his undeniable technical virtuosity. In 1926, Dali took a life-changing trip to Paris. He visited Pablo Picasso in his studio and found great inspiration in what the Cubist was doing. He began studying the psychoanalytical concepts of Freud and consequently began using psychoanalytic methods of mining the subconscious to generate imagery. His first serious work of this style was Apparatus in Hand of 1927.
Dali was known for having an extraordinary ego. He truly believed he was destined to be the greatest artist who ever lived.
In 1929, Dali met the French surrealist poet Paul Eluard and his wife Gala. Soon after this original meeting, Dali moved to Paris and was invited by André Breton to join the Surrealists for the next several years.
He also collapse in this kind of sadness and melancholy of the other kind of modern school.
I see. So that really you feel that surrealism, having started when you were with it as very gay, has now sunk into melancholy and despair, and that you alone remain as a true representative of it.
Absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a big introduction there, so let's go straight to the certificate of authenticity for our first lot. It is Salvador Dali, the original woodcut engraving. Let's give it a 5-minute clock from now because I've got to move very, very quickly. If we can possibly put up a 5-minute clock, that'd be wonderful. Salvador Dali, Spanish artist, born in 1904, he died in 1989. The first sphere, ladies and gentlemen, is a catalogue reference work, original woodcut engraving in colours, printed on BFK Reeves woven paper. First edition now. Why did it take 4 years for them to create it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, 4 years because each one had to be individually hand carved in wooden blocks, 30 to 35 wooden blocks per piece, published by Edition des Arts Les Eclairs of Paris. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a 3-minute clock, so that'll do. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go, and this is your first lot of the morning. Let's get bidding. When the clock runs out, I will be selling. So, ladies and gentlemen, get on the phone. Don't waste time now. 866-518-5933. If you've not bid before, get yourself registered because you don't want to miss out this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce our co-host, our wonderful art expert all the way from Sweden, and yes, he will be doing the show in English. It is Leif. Good morning, Leif.
Very much, and a very good morning, Richard. Very good morning, America. Welcome. We hope you are ready to go. We have some sensational art for you this morning. Of course, kicking it off with Salvador Dali, one of the most famous series he ever did. Let's focus on the artwork. Now, ladies and gentlemen, his Divine Comedy series is a landmark of 100 color woodcuts based on his original watercolors for each canto of Dante's epic. The whole story, ladies and gentlemen, is about the famous Divine Comedy. And now, this brought to life by Dali, produced with extraordinary craftsmanship by Edition des Les Eclairs in Paris, using over and more than 3,500 hand-carved blocks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this project was originally commissioned to honor Dante's 700th anniversary and continued by Dali even after public controversy canceled that commission. Now, the project is considered the most technically ambitious print cycle of Dali's career, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, it is divided into 3 sections. You have Inferno, you have Purgatory, you have Paradise, and the series moves from dark surrealism to luminous spirituality, ladies and gentlemen, and remains highly collectible for its artistic depth. Now, what you're looking at is a first edition printing quality on BFK Reeves paper and its powerful fusion of Dali's imagination with one of history's greatest literary works. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have a true gem here on your hands. Keep in mind that every single work of art that we offer you comes with a brand new frame, custom-made, museum quality frames, ladies and gentlemen, and that is included. I would highly take advantage of that. You cannot go wrong. Now, the interesting thing about this work, the title is The First Sphere. Now, it corresponds to the Lullian and Mishler catalog raisonné of Dali's graphic works. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to note that this was produced by Les Eclairs. It is the same Parisian fine art publisher behind Salvador Dali's Biblia Sacra and the Divine Comedy series. Now, when we're talking about the Divine Comedy series, after doing a lot of research, you will find, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of price points in the market. But I'd like to go to my computer, please. Let's take a look at the man, the myth, the legend himself. He has this phenomenal mustache. Now, ladies and gentlemen, little did we know Dali would take a lot of pomade in the morning and it was curving his mustache upwards. He believed when asked that it was an antenna for cosmic energy. He truly was an extravagant, larger-than-life figure. Here is his museum in Figueras, Spain. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the few artists that actually had museums built for them. This one in Spain. This one in St. Petersburg, Florida. So, ladies and gentlemen, two museums that feature Dali's work. This is his magnum opus. This is known as The Persistence of Memory, 1931. It is, ladies and gentlemen, permanently housed in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. When we're talking about prices, here is his record at $21,673,000. This is the market that Dali commands, ladies and gentlemen. However, when we're talking about the Divine Comedy, as I mentioned, you will find a lot of prices out there. It's very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, that your work is certified, that's in an excellent condition. Every work of art we have is in that category. Ladies and gentlemen, last thing I want to show you before I send to Richard, look at the price on this Divine Comedy. Here we have, this is, ladies and gentlemen, $68,424, just an example of what these can sell for. This sold in Bottoms in London, UK, 2014. Richard.
Well, this is a beautiful image and it is selling now. Come on, America, wakey, wakey, it's breakfast time here on CNBC. At $5.50, I'll take another 50. Come on, give me your best and final bids. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. Who on earth has an auction at breakfast time? We do. I'll take another 50. I'll take another 50. The only live auction in the world on television, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take 50 more. Take another 50. Take another 50. Best and final bids. Anyone else now? Give me your best and final bids. It's gotta go. It's selling now. And it is going, John. It's gotta go. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. 6 bids. 600. That is a beautiful image, Leif. What a gorgeous piece. Ladies and gentlemen, I've collected Dali's work from the Divine Comedy. Basically, he did two very, very famous bodies of work. One was called the Biblia Sacra, but my personal favorite was this. It's called the Divine Comedy. It's a 700-year-old story created by the Florentine poet, Italian poet, Dante Alighieri. So, ladies and gentlemen, these works were commissioned back in the late 1950s. It took Dali years to create the original paintings. He did 101 paintings, and then it took them 4 years to turn these into wood block engravings. Now, I've got a big surprise for you. I'm going to show you something in big detail in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about to sell. Take another 50. Best and final chance. Best and final chance. So there we go. Well done. Thank you. Okay, don't forget who's coming in within the hour now, ladies and gentlemen. We're very excited to see him. He's still a bit jet-lagged, but he's going to do his best this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just flown in live from Berlin. Ladies and gentlemen, the next piece has a special meaning to me, and I mean it with my hand on my heart, I tell you, because it is my favorite work from the Divine Comedy. But what could be better than one Divine Comedy? This. It is 3 pieces. This shows you, it's called a decomposition. Now, if we go full screen, there we go. This is the finished article, like you've just bid on there. That was a finished article. But these were very, very rare because they were they weren't meant for sale to the public. What this is, ladies and gentlemen, is called a decomposition. So it shows you, and Leif will be able to explain very, very beautifully in a moment, how there were about 30 to 35 of these created to make the end one. And what I mean is that they used a wooden block to create this color. Then they had to hand carve another wooden block to create the orange in here. Then they create another one to create this lighter blue. You see the lighter blue coming in through here. Then another one to create this shade of blue, which is in there somewhere. And then another one which does the darker blue. So you get the story. They had to print up to 35 times, and you can only do one color per day. So it would take really and truly about 2 months to create the final image. But it took them 4 years to do all 101 paintings. It was a multi-million-dollar project, and Dali was a genius. This is up for auction, ladies and gentlemen, a very rare piece. These were not available to the public like this. These were literally display pieces allowed to show the galleries how they could sell like the finished articles. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very rare piece indeed, the decomposition triptych meaning 3. So a decomposition triptych. Up next by Salvador Dali with Leif. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you very much, Richard. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to give you a little bit more color on the actual project, this is monumental. When we're talking about the Divine Comedy, the Italian government, the entire government, ladies and gentlemen, in 1950 shocked the art world by selecting the Spanish surrealist Salvador Dali to illustrate Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, as we mentioned, for the 700th anniversary. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as the New York Times reported in 1951, the decision caused public outcry in Italy. Critics argued that a Spanish surrealist could not possibly represent the soul of Dante's Italy. Now, instead of withdrawing, Dali embraced the controversy, stating publicly that Dante's exploration of the human condition belongs to everyone, not only to Italy. And this movement, ladies and gentlemen, marked a major turning point. Now, like Richard described, there is, what you are looking at is a decomposition. So what Dali would do is, in the tradition, ladies and gentlemen, of Albert Dürer, who was the master of the woodcut on the wood block, by creating these formidable reliefs, Salvador Dali, in following in those footsteps, took upon one of the greatest and one of the monumental and Herculean task, ladies and gentlemen, of illustrating the Divine Comedy. What makes what you're looking at very, very special is that you see the actual creative decomposition process. This is very rare. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes 40, 50, even up to 60 different images have to be one step at a time, one color at a time, had to be created, had to be produced in order to create what you're looking at. So you're looking at the actual creative process, and the composition presents these fragmented, ascending shapes arranged to imply that movement towards resolution. So you can see how robust, how this work of art is being built up a section at a time, with angular outlines, with shifting forms, and the selective culture and color, indeed, that emphasizes tension, release, and progression. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolute must. This is truly a collectible Dali. Richard.
Well, it's a very rare piece indeed, ladies and gentlemen, because these were not available to the public like this. So this is really something very rare indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Salvador Dali, then the original woodcut. Let's go to the certificate. Dante Purified. Now, Leif, I only have one piece from the Divine Comedy in my collection. Guess which one it is? Exactly. It is the one we're looking at. Dante Purified. This is the one that I have in my private collection. Decomposition triptych, catalogue reference, ladies and gentlemen. So when it's catalogue reference, it means that it has been certified, catalogued as an original by Dali. So it is an original woodcut engraving in color, printed on BFK Reeves woven paper. It is the first edition, a 4-year task. A 4-year task to create this, ladies and gentlemen, published by Les Éditions d'Art, Les Heures Claires of Paris, back in 1964. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a wonderful, wonderful year. I was born and my soccer team won the big cup in England. That is the most important thing. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful, wonderful piece. And it is created by the incredible Dali. I'm about to sell this. When the clock runs out, it will be sold. And look, we're only at 5:50. Leif, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind, if you're just tuning in, what are you bidding on? You're bidding on a Salvador Dali showing you the entire decomposition process. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, published by Éditions d'Art Les Heures Claires in Paris, known for the greatest Dali print cycles. Ladies and gentlemen, this means that the work you are bidding on comes from a publisher respected by museums and scholars. In fact, Le Figaro called their editions a monumental achievement in modern printmaking, end quote. This is an original color woodcut engraving. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at one of the most difficult printmaking techniques, which means the work carries prestige tied to craft mastery, as noted in the Print Collectors Quarterly. Ladies and gentlemen, this was created during Salvador Dali's major literary and indeed philosophical period, linked to his Dante research, which means, ladies and gentlemen, the narrative depth. I want to go ahead and show my screen, please. There's a couple of images that you're going to notice on my screen, which shows you the step-by-step process of creating the woodcut. Now, this is just a few of the images. Ladies and gentlemen, notice how each color has to be added at a time. I got to tell you, Richard, that in today's world, I highly doubt people would have either the time or the money to make such a Herculean and monumental task like this. Back to you.
Well, you just couldn't afford to do it today. And the other thing, Leif, I doubt there are the craftsmen available. There are not the craftsmen available to hand carve each wooden block. Can you imagine, like now we use laser printers and you can have things printed in a day. This took 4 years, ladies and gentlemen, 4 years. It's beautifully framed, it's incredibly rare, and this was only meant for the art trade, not available for the public like this. The one on the right, yes, it was available, but not the decomposition example. So if you want to collect something unusual, very rare, and guess what? I think it's probably worth around $12,000 to $14,000 like this, Leif, but we're under $1,000. I'm about to sell it when the clock runs out. I'll give you one last minute only, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Leif, last chance, last call, here we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you have an opportunity to bid on one of the most unusual and rare works presented in a decomposition so you can see the actual creative process. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen anything like this before, go for it. This is a absolutely collectible work, and keep in mind, this is lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, Dali passed away in 1989. He will never create another work of art. The fact of the matter is, every time you look at this, it becomes harder to find. Museums have these kind of works in their collections, from the Dali Museum in Figueras in Spain, to the Dali Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida, to the Dali Museum in Paris, ladies and gentlemen, in Montmartre. They all have in their permanent collection works by the Divine Comedy by Salvador Dali. So you are bidding on, ladies and gentlemen, you are bidding on works of art that are already in museums. Understand that there is no more supply of this. As mentioned, Salvador Dali passed away in 1989. So that means, essentially, ladies and gentlemen, that every second that goes by, it becomes harder and harder to find these works of art. Richard.
Well, Leif, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because we've got to get a move on just because of the constraints of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just had a bit of 800. I've got 2 of these available. They're very rare trade pieces only. And I've got 2 of these available. So I'm going to hold the price there, John. 800, 800. I'll tell you what, John, just for a change, we're going to do it with no buyer's premium. 800, no buyer's premium. 800, no buyer's premium. I've got 2 of these available. And 2 of these available. First 2 people get on the phone. In fact, one's gone. That was Stacey's bidder, I think. I forget who it was. But ladies and gentlemen, one of those has gone. So there's 1 available of number 1, and there's 2 available of number 2. 800, no buyer's premium. That's a deal. Get on the phone very, very quickly. Leif, your thoughts on that? Here we go.
Number 2 that we just brought in is entitled The Liars. Now, this is part of Dali's decomposition triptych created between 60 and 64. The image presents a fragmented composition. This is a hallmark of Dali's lens printmaking style. Human forms appear distorted, split, partially transformed. Ladies and gentlemen, Dali uses abrupt angles and layered shapes to communicate psychological instability. This is an absolute masterpiece. And by the way, the purpose behind this triptych was to translate intangible concepts, such as truth versus falsehood, into visual structures. Dali used multi-block woodcut processes because it naturally creates separation, fracture, and indeed the essence of reconstruction. This mirrors the theme of deception. And this print is part of Dali's broader exploration of ethics during the 1960s. So, ladies and gentlemen, he increasingly referenced Catholic doctrine, Renaissance allegory, and psychological conflict. But what makes this really stand out, ladies and gentlemen, is that you are privy to the creative process. You could see the creative process of one of the greatest geniuses of the 20th century. I mean, these are remarkable works of art, which, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never had a chance to collect something like this before, just think about when was the last time you had a chance to see or view this. You'll view these in museums. Museums have these images as part of their permanent collection. Of course, private collectors do as well. But the thing to remember, ladies and gentlemen, is that Dali is no longer alive. There is no more supply of this. The demand keeps on increasing tremendously over the years. As more museums and private collectors jump into the business, the supply is dwindling very quickly, Richard.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think both have gone on this one. I think there's one left. John, I believe there's just one left on this one, so both have gone there. Congratulations. Last chance then on this one. We'll give you a chance to focus in. 1 minute clock, please, and then we've got to move on. Here we go. So first person to call in now. I believe there's one left of this, so it's number 2, and that is the wonderful, wonderful piece. Let me just give you the title again. That particular piece is called The Liars, and that is the triptych, original woodcut. So ladies and gentlemen, get on the phone very, very quickly. If you want one, there's one available, and it's over to Leif very quickly. 30 seconds left.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are bidding on Salvador Dali, Divine Comedy, published by Les Heures Claires, the same firm responsible for Dali's most respected woodcut editions, which means you are acquiring work from one of the most academically trusted Dali publishers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is from the 1960s to 64 woodcut period, considered by scholars to be his most technically disciplined, which means you're holding work that is tied to the height of Dali's classical mastery. Ladies and gentlemen, these are original woodcut engravings requiring multiple carved blocks, which is a notoriously demanding technique, which means you're holding work that is tied to the height of his mastery. Ladies and gentlemen, these are part of a triptych that explores moral philosophy, rare among Dali's print projects, which means collectors value it for the thematic depth and not just the imagery. Ladies and gentlemen, what you need to be thinking about here is you're getting a 3-for-1 here, Richard.
Well, not only 3-for-1, ladies and gentlemen, but something that was not available to the general public around the world. In galleries around the world, they weren't available. So it may have gone already. You'll have to call in and double check. Ladies and gentlemen, you can always call in. If you like the first one and you like the second one, by all means ask the phone team, double check they've gone through, because sometimes people call in, a credit card doesn't go through, or however they normally acquire these pieces, ladies and gentlemen. So always double check. You're more than welcome to call in, speak to our phone team. They're a wonderful team. They've been with the show, many of them, nearly 20 years, so they know what they're doing. They're very kind, they're very helpful, and ladies and gentlemen, and they put up with me, so they can't be bad, can they? Ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to move on. John, let's get ready with the next lot, and if you want that last piece, you've got to be very, very quick now, ladies and gentlemen. So 800, no buyer's premium, just to start the show off with a fantastic deal for you. And we're not going to stop the deals there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move on with the show with something very, very special for you. Now, obviously, In fact, I've just seen him walk into the studio now. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause in the background there for Kev? He's just arrived. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's followed me into hair and makeup. I spend a bit more time on makeup than hair. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm joking. No makeup, by the way. We are moving on with the show. We got a very, very quick video, just a quick promotion for what's coming up in the next 25 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going directly after the video to our next lot, which is a very special piece. And this is by the one and only Banksy, the British art star, ladies and gentlemen. It's an offset lithograph in colour from the deluxe edition executed for the Banksy Under Siege exhibition to benefit Ukraine at the museum in the UK in 2023. And it is called Ribbon Dancer. But before that, a very quick video for you.
Every line, every curve, every color, every breath held and every breath released. Art is created. Every moment spent in Berlin creating this style. Every moment spent in Shanghai mastering this style. Every moment of doubt, every moment of joy. Hours painting, years of creating. Harmony, peace, tranquility. With every collaboration, with every exhibition, his name grows.
Sold! California!
Sold it under my
Sold.
sold at $41,000.
Sold at 63.
With every hammer drop and every piece sold, now is the time for Kev.
Well, he's here in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be joining us very, very shortly. But right now, we do have a very, very special opportunity for you. This is a very large and very, very collectible work created by Banksy. I was going to bring over the 3-foot ruler, but actually it won't be large enough. So I brought the 4-foot ruler for you. We're measuring this one at 43 inches across, and 36 high, 43 by 36. I've just noticed something, Leif. I'm going to have to put the ruler down. This is a very rare piece indeed, because it was created for a special exhibition at the museum in England, in Suffolk, where one of the royal residences is Sandringham. And this particular piece is actually double-sided. And this is, there we go, got some weight to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the exhibition, the Banksy Under Siege exhibition at the National Horse Racing Museum in Newmarket, Suffolk. Now, the Horse Racing Museum is not just about horses. There is a fine art museum, but Newmarket is very famous for the race course there. Like the Kentucky Derby, we have Newmarket as a famous race course. That's in the county of Suffolk. And the exhibition, all of this, as you can see the Ukrainian flag here, all of the money raised by Banksy's artwork was towards this RESM. And actually, Kev, who is joining us shortly, also contributed his artwork to this very good cause, and it was all for the relief of children under siege in Ukraine. So a very noble cause, ladies and gentlemen, and this is from the museum. It's double-sided, and this particular piece is a great, great image. It's called Ribbon Dancer, and it is by the one and only Banksy. Here's Leif. Let's get bidding.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in November 2022, Banksy secretly entered Ukraine during the Russian invasion and began leaving artworks on destroyed buildings in and around Kiev, Irpin, and Borodyanka. When reporters asked how he managed to work in active conflict zones, Banksy responded with a simple, factual statement recorded in the Guardian newspaper. He said, and I quote, "I wanted to make a statement, not an escape." End quote. And ladies and gentlemen, that moment instantly became one of the most widely circulated quotes of his career, demonstrating his willingness to put himself in danger for the sake of message-driven art. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, you are looking at a Banksy. This man is the leader considered by museums, by art authorities, and indeed by scholars as the leader of the street art movement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the biggest artists this century in the making, with many, many, many works selling for over $1 million. He is part of the newest and most vibrant art movement, not only of the beginning of this century, but the beginning of this millennium. Ladies and gentlemen, Banksy, according to many, could possibly be the next biggest Picasso of this century. He certainly is on the way to doing that. Now, what you're looking at is very, very special indeed. Let's go to my screen for a second. These are just a couple of works so that you can get familiar with Banksy. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever Banksy creates something on a wall, and keep in mind, he's still anonymous. We still don't know who he is, and that's the whole aspect of street art because it is a clandestine activity, and he calls it guerrilla urban warfare. Guerrilla urban warfare to bring about a cause. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case, you see the girl with the balloon flying over the wall in Jerusalem. This one is a very famous girl with a balloon in London. Ladies and gentlemen, here is this man throwing flowers. This is meant to be thrown over the wall to the Gaza Strip. Here is Lady with Fire Extinguisher. This is in Ukraine. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want to get at. What you're looking at right now should typically be around $5,000, if not more. Now, there are several works I was able to find online that are part of these exhibition series. It is very unusual. It is very rare to find works of art that come directly from the museum exhibitions. That's what you're bidding on. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's an example of one of them that was held at an exhibition in Sicily at the Palazzo della Cultura. Next one, look at this one. This is another exhibition edition, offset lithograph. These are the same things that you're bidding on, ladies and gentlemen. It's only a different exhibition. This one at $5,000. Here's yet another one. Another edition, exhibition lithograph, also $5,000. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what makes the one you're bidding on very, very special indeed is that it was for Ukraine. It has, as Richard was showing you, the aspect, the flag of Ukraine, and the writing on the background. So that is very, very rare. I would say minimum, Richard, $5,000 for the Banksy that we're currently showing. Here's another example of just a poster at $8,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we're another poster at 95,000 pounds. Richard, back to you.
Well, these do not get released by the museum very often, ladies and gentlemen. They do not get released by the museum very often, so we're lucky to have this direct from the museum here. Lot 303 then, Ribbon Dancer. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the offset lithograph in colour on thick woven paper by none other than Banksy. And ladies and gentlemen, it's from the deluxe edition executed for the Banksy Under Siege exhibition to benefit Ukraine at the, it's the children of Ukraine actually, the National Horse Racing Museum in Suffolk, England in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, just released by the museum. So let's have a bid on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is double-sided once again, just to show you very quickly. You've got all the information of the exhibition, beautifully framed. The frame alone on this, Leif, to have it framed double-sided like that, probably over $1,000 now. So I'm going to give you one last chance to give you 2 minutes with Leif. Let's get bidding. We're about to sell it. It is a Banksy original, authenticated, just released by the museum. Here's Leif.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to my screen, please. I want to show you the kind of market that he commands, ladies and gentlemen. This is His record pricing at $25,426 right over here. That's sold on Sotheby's, 14th of October 2021. And that was for the shredded piece. You might have heard about this, where he actually shredded a work of art during an auction. Once it's shredded, it sold for a few million. But once it came back a few years later, it almost went up 10 times the price. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the power of Banksy. Let's go back to the work of art. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about the origin of this work. What is the genesis of this? Well, the title of the work is Ribbon Dancer, and it originates from Banksy's 2022 clandestine mission into Ukraine, where he created murals on destroyed buildings. Now, the gymnast that you see here on the ruins was painted on a building in Irpin. That is the city which was heavily damaged during the early months of the invasion. Now, the mural became quickly a symbol of Ukrainian resilience, and in 2023, Banksy authorized a deluxe lithograph edition for the charity exhibition Banksy Under Siege, making it one of the very few humanitarian-linked prints in his catalog. So what you're bidding on is really, really rare, folks, and the image depicts a rhythmic gymnast balancing on rubble with a long ribbon forming a controlled arc. The dancer is steady, centered, focused. Behind her, broken concrete, fractured stone, and the suggestion of structural collapse. The juxtaposition is direct. Grace against devastation, ladies and gentlemen. And Banksy keeps the design minimal. Monochrome subject, simple line work, crisp edges, and a single extended form to symbolize continuity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the artistic purpose of this, the work was created to highlight contrast, dignity versus destruction, stability versus chaos. And Banksy used the gymnast as a universal symbol of poise under pressure. That's why this is such a powerful work of art. And by placing a figure of elegance on bombed debris, Banksy emphasized the endurance, ladies and gentlemen, of the human spirit. So here we go. Created for the official Banksy Under Siege exhibition benefiting Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, these works minimum selling for $5,000. That's what you could expect to find for these. Let me go to my screen, please. Let me show you the examples again. This is exactly the same thing, released from private special exhibitions. Here's one at $5,000. Here's another one released called Bomb Hunger at $5,000 from the deluxe edition exhibition. We can read there, to benefit Ukraine. The one you're bidding on is the Ben exhibition to benefit Ukraine as well. Here's another one at $5,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we're only at $1,400. This should be going much higher than this. The frame alone is over $1,000, Richard.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's about to sell, it's about to go. It's about to go at 15, thank you, at 1,500, at 1,500 bid, at 1,500 is bid now, 1,500 I'm selling, 1,500 it's going, 1,500. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, John. Hold the bidding there, hold the bidding there. Number one is here. Then we're going to focus, it's all right, you've got it, hang on. Stay on the phone, stay on the phone. Bring in the other one, John. We have 3 have been released of each of these from the museum, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second one. We'll focus in on that one for a second. I'm going to hold the price there. Hang on. Here's the deal. You've been great bidders already, so I'm not going to take the price up. $1,500, no buyer's premium, number one. $1,500, number two. 3 have been released from the museum here. 3 have been released from the museum here. Again, is this double-sided as well, John? It is. It is double-sided, this one as well, ladies and gentlemen. So, released from the museum. 3 of these available. 3 of these available. Let's hold the price there. You've given me a fair bid. $1,500, number one. First 3 people in America, $1,500, or number 2. Let's focus in on the second one now, ladies and gentlemen. So $1,500 for each, and I will, John, that is a fantastic deal. The second image we've got here is called Fire Truck, and this was created in Kiev. or Kyiv as they call it nowadays, Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, and Banksy flew into Ukraine to donate money, etc., for the children in Ukraine. And this was from the deluxe exhibition executed under for the Banksy Under Siege exhibition. Remember, he went all the way to Ukraine to do this, and he created that work of art on the wall in Ukraine of the fire truck, and it is released from the National Museum in Suffolk. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the fire truck, and forgive the image there, but it's meant to be a torpedo, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, but that was created in Ukraine by Banksy. Number 2, we have 3 available. I think there's maybe only 2 available now. Did you just say that in the background? Number 1, there are 2 available at 1,500. Number 2, there are 2 available at 1,500. So you have to be quick now, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to go. Here is Leif. Leif, what a deal.
This is phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, this should be going for so much more. The one that we just brought in is exactly the same thing, meaning that this is a very special exhibition work, ladies and gentlemen. Again, these are around $5,000. You're getting them for $1,500. Banksy. Yes, you're getting a Banksy on sale. Think about that. I have never heard the word Banksy and sale in one sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, if you're just bidding, if you're just tuning in, these are actual works that Banksy did on the walls of Ukraine. They were part of that exhibition that was later featured, and the artist confirmed his presence in Ukraine through a video posted on Instagram featuring one of the murals emerging from the rubble. The Guardian reported that Banksy told journalists that he felt compelled to document resilience where the world most needed to see it. That's why he went to Ukraine, and this became one of the defining artistic interventions of the decade. So these became very famous indeed. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, images of Banksy's murals in Kiev went viral worldwide. They appeared on CNN and BBC, the New York Times, Al Jazeera, Financial Times, not as entertainment, but as symbols of unity. Now, among the works that were documented was the fire truck stencil created on a damaged municipal vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the imagery quickly circulated online as the emblem of emergency, of courage. And ladies and gentlemen, in 2023, the National Horse Racing Museum in Suffolk organized the exhibition Banksy Under Siege to raise funds for Ukrainian medical and humanitarian support. And for this exhibition, Banksy sanctioned what you are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, making it one of the few works directly connected to his first-hand involvement in a modern conflict zone. So imagine the story behind this. Imagine the history behind these works of art. And ladies and gentlemen, by the early 2000s, his work spread to LA, to London, to New York, to Bethlehem, to Paris, and his murals on the West Bank gained international media coverage, with Time magazine describing him as, and I quote, a global conscious disguised as a street artist. Richard.
Well, Leif, the final, there might be one available of the Banksy's number 1 or number 2, ladies and gentlemen. So you'll have to call in if you want to bid on that. But we're now going to focus on this. It's the final lot before our special guest comes in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. Kef is here, and it's going to be a great show. I'm glad that you're enjoying it already. Thank you so much for your support. But let's focus on this, because this is the only one available in the world. Now, it's a tiny sculpture, ladies and gentlemen, but this is something incredibly rare, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Let's go to this certificate of authenticity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, although it's a small sculpture, it is very, very rare indeed. It is called a wall sculpture. And what does that mean? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is in cast resin, the sculpture, with the West Bank. Listen to this. Listen to this. West Bank separation wall, fragment base. So, it's the only one in the world, ladies and gentlemen. It was inscribed on the underside. I'm going to have to get my gloves on for this because this is really a museum piece. It is example 18332C, its catalogue reference there. Created, now he's so clever, Banksy. This was created for the Waldorf Hotel. Not the Waldorf, the Waldorf Hotel in 2018. It is extremely rare, ladies and gentlemen. It is a museum piece. That is a part of the West Bank separation wall. I'll just show you the piece. It is the only one. Now, for this, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize, but we're going to have to move on very, very quickly. I'm going to start the bidding on this at $5,000. And if anyone wants to come in over that, ladies and gentlemen, we will sell it to the highest bidder in the next 3 minutes. Let's put up a 3-minute clock. Ladies and gentlemen, 3-minute clock. 5,000 is the opening bid. It's the only one in the world. The sculpture from the West Bank separation wall by none other than Banksy, with the famous balloon girl floating freely above the wall. So, ladies and gentlemen, starting bid $5,000. This, Leif, I've got to think it's worth over 35 to 40,000 now. Over to you.
Yeah, Richard, I mean, this is, I've been doing this show now 5 years. I have never, ever seen anything like this. Ladies and gentlemen, my goodness. Do you realize what you're bidding on? Do you realize what you're looking at? Folks, in 2017, Banksy opened up a hotel in Bethlehem called the Waldorf Hotel, directly facing the Israeli West Bank separation barrier. It was described by The Guardian as offering the worst view in the world. I'm not kidding. That's what the newspaper said, the worst view in the world. But that's not the point, ladies and gentlemen. That is not the point. This is why this man has become so incredibly famous. It was a deliberate provocation about borders, about conflict, about human division, and Banksy funded the project anonymously and refused to commercialize it. Instead, he used the hotel to create employment and visibility for local Palestinian artisans. And the hotel became one of the most unusual art installations ever created. Part museum, part protest, part functioning hotel. That's right, the hotel is actually functioning, and I bet you would like to see what it looks like, right, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'll show it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to my screen, please. There it is. There is the Waldorf Hotel. This is the hotel that Banksy funded. You can see the name there. There's the wall on the right. Look at the wall. This is the hotel where people could stay at. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand what you are bidding on here. Let's go back to the work of art. Now, what is this exactly? The sculpture that you're looking at was created exclusively for that hotel. Established in 2017 and managed with local Palestinian staff. In 2018, the hotel introduced a limited selection of artworks incorporating authentic fragments of the West Bank wall. What you're bidding on is a fragment painted by Banksy of the West Bank wall. Have you ever seen or had an opportunity to ever bid on something like this? I have never seen something so remarkable. This is a piece of the wall, ladies and gentlemen, painted by the most famous street artist on the planet, one of his most industrious projects. Everybody should be bidding on this. This is an absolute masterpiece, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, think about the significance, the historical significance. And in fact, when we're talking about Banksy, realize many, many works over the $10 million mark already. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. If you've never seen anything like this before, there's one thing you got to bid. I mean, you just have to bid. This is, ladies and gentlemen, essentially an original Banksy painted on a piece of the wall, fully certified. Let's go to my screen, give you an idea of some prices here. Here's Banksy's, $6 million at Christie's, $6 million, $8 million. You can see the hammer price here. These are all auction records. $8 million, $9 million, $9 million, $12 million, $14 million, $23 million, $25 million. This is Banksy, ladies and gentlemen. That's the power of Banksy. Let's go back to the work of art. Now the sculpture, and by the way, the concept behind this little sculpture, Banksy in 2018, understand that each little piece was produced on site. And the concept was to allow collectors to own a physical artifact of the barrier that Banksy spent years criticizing. Richard.
Well, Leif, I'm very surprised. I thought this would make at least 18 to 20,000 here this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you one last chance. It's on sale with you. I think we're sold out, obviously, on the Kef piece. Sorry, Kef. I'm thinking of Kef. Banksy, sorry, Banksy. Kef's here. He's more important today than you are. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to sell this, so I'll give you last 60 seconds then. We move on with our main event of the day, which is the special guest appearance flown in from Berlin, the wonderful Kef, joining us in literally a minute from now. Ladies and gentlemen, last minute on the Banksy. Who's in the lead there, John, at 6,000? Who's the agent? Who's the phone team? Stacey's bidder at 6,000. I'm selling. Here is Leif.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what you're bidding on, that sculpture consists of a cast resin miniature representation of typical wall forms combined with a real stone fragment from the actual separation barrier between the West Bank and Israel. The resin upper structure features Banksy's trademark simplicity, clean lines, stark shapes, symbolic architectural geometry. The base fragment provides visual contrast. It's rough, it's aged, visibly scarred by time and conflict. Now together, the components merge polished art with unfiltered reality. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this was to function as conceptual documentary. The sculpture brings the viewer into direct contact with a global symbol of separation. Think about the history behind this work of art. Not only do you have a fragment from one of the most famous walls in the world, but you have actually a little design in it, ladies and gentlemen, which is, by the way, the balloons and the girl. That is Banksy's most famous design. That's Banksy's most famous design. It's almost as if Leonardo da Vinci would take a little slab from the Sistine Chapel and paint the Mona Lisa on it. That's what this is. Banksy is taking his most famous symbol, which is the balloon girl, which he's painted here, ladies and gentlemen, on this work. Richard, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, final reminder here. Look, I'll take the museum protection off it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's zoom in closely on the piece. I just want to show you anything that's hand-painted by this man. It's only small. I know it's only small. But ladies and gentlemen, anything hand-painted by this man, his works sell for millions of dollars. This is the West Bank separation wall. I'll just spin it around so you can see the whole thing. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all taken from the West Bank wall by Banksy. Then he has hand-painted this piece. Anything hand-painted by him in the future, believe me, and this is not a sales ploy, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will think, wow, I cannot believe Grandpa and Grandma got that for under $50,000. Believe me. So, ladies and gentlemen, 30 seconds and I'm selling. 30 seconds and I'm selling. 75 with Florida. 30 seconds with me then. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. It's on sale with your last chance, America. I think I've given you every opportunity. Florida in the lead at 7.5, 7.5 bid. At 75, got a bit of 7.5, 7.5 bid. At 7.5 on the Banksy and going once. At 7.5, you've got to be quick. At 7.5, anyone else, yes or no? Georgia's out. Georgia's out. Florida's in. At 75 with Charlie's bidder from Florida. Whereabouts in Florida, Charlie? At Delray Beach. What a beautiful place. At 7.5. At 7.5 is bid. At 7.5. Well, it's a beautiful beach unless I'm walking on it. At 7.5, I'll sell it. At 7.5, it goes once. At 7.5, are you bidding? At 7.5, last chance, last call. Going once, going twice. Third and the final time, you got to be quick. Yes or no? Charlie gets it. Congratulations. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got to move on, and well done to our bidders there on the wonderful Banksy collection. Well done to our Dali collectors. But now, you ready? It's ready for liftoff now, ladies and gentlemen, and it is the main event. And coming up, we will be auctioning this amazing, amazing handbag, and it will be by the incredible Kef.
Every line, every curve, every color, every breath held and every breath released. Art is created. Every moment spent in Berlin, creating this style. Every moment spent in Shanghai, mastering this style. Every moment of doubt, every moment of joy. Hours painting, years of creating. Harmony, peace, tranquility. With every collaboration, with every exhibition, his name grows.
Sold! Sold! California!
Sold it under the mud.
Sold.
Sold at $41,000.
Sold! Sold at 63.
With every hammer drop and every piece sold, now is the time for Kef.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're ready for the main event, and what an honor it is to have this guy fly in from Berlin, ladies and gentlemen. He's got major shows going on all around the world. He'll be very, very soon in Shanghai again. He was in Hong Kong recently planning all his wonderful art tour of Asia. He is hugely popular around the world. He was born in Germany in 1989. I've got older suits than that. But ladies and gentlemen, he was born in 1989 in Germany, and he moved to London around the year 2013, I believe. Spent about 5 or 6 years living in London, so he's developed the London accent very, very well. Ladies and gentlemen, and he'll be joining us. I got to meet him 6 or 7 years ago when I first came to host the show over here in America. And ladies and gentlemen, he's become a great friend of mine, and it is really, truly an honor to have him here. We're so proud of him. He's doing great things all over the world. Please welcome the incredible Kef. Simon, I've got to give you a hug. I haven't seen you for ages. How are you?
I'm good.
Great to see you.
Busy, traveling, enjoying life.
Yeah?
Yes.
And you were over in Asia recently doing some work in the planning your next big tour and everything over there?
Yeah, I was in Hong Kong and in Guangzhou, and I had an event in Guangzhou. And in December, I'm going back to Hong Kong because I'm having a collaboration with a candle brand. It's called Be Candle. And I never mentioned it until now.
Okay.
But
what's the brand again?
Be Candle.
Be Candle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're quite big there. And so we are going to make a big event.
Oh, wow. And I know in the past you've done some major things with international hotel brands. Are you able to mention the name of the big hotel you did?
It was Pullman.
Pullman Hotel?
Pullman, yeah. Pullman
okay,
Hotel.
yeah, very famous.
Then another one in China, but it's more famous in China, Artisan Habitat Hotel.
Artisan Hotels, yeah.
Molitor Hotel in Paris.
Oh, in Paris as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's hotel-wise.
And what anything happening in Germany? You doing? I know you did the big museum show. Because, Sejan, I have to tell you, for an artist to do a solo art show in a gallery is a huge thing. It's something that all artists dream of. But something that never happens, particularly when you're still alive, is for a museum to dedicate their entire museum to you. And that has happened to you already. So
Yeah.
Congratulations, that's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
And the museum, whereabouts in Germany is that?
It's West Germany.
In West Germany.
West
Okay.
Germany, and yeah, it's not so far from actually my hometown where I'm born.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really great. I made a massive installation in one room, and the other room was more classic.
Yeah.
Like hanging the paintings, large paintings.
Yeah, and then you did these fabulous totems as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was.
And we're going to auction one of those in a second. In fact, let's take the camera over. Let's have a quick look at the totem. This is one of the pieces that was displayed in the museum, and we're lucky enough to have that here, ladies and gentlemen. So one of his famous totems is here. And now let's focus on our first lot. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, I've got the opportunity to offer you the major canvas here. And as I said, all I need to put it in the auction today is an opening bid of 10,000, and I will start the bidding. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want it in the auction today, you've got to call in and pledge me at least 10,000 to get the bidding underway or higher, ladies and gentlemen. And we have sold his works on this show for $70,000, one of your paintings made here. And in galleries, they are approaching that 100,000 barrier now. So ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about our first lot and these very special items. This is his hand-painted bag series, and you came up with this maybe about 2 years ago, is that right?
Yeah, they're quite new still and never published yet. So that's a brand from Berlin.
Okay, a German brand.
Yeah, Olbrich.
Yeah.
And I really like their clean design. So I was thinking, okay, it would be great to paint on them.
Yeah,
and there we go.
I like the handle. I think that might suit my outfit, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. I'm joking, but beautiful Olbrich German handbag. And it's all hand painted, and you've done these works with Louis Vuitton in the past and other brands.
Yes, that's correct.
But this is the first time we've had this very high-end German brand. So, ladies and gentlemen, an opportunity to bid on an original. There's only one in the world like this. You haven't done a second one, have you?
No.
No, so it's the only one in the world like this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause. Simon, great to see you, and we'll have you back in a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to focus on the first lot then, the beautiful Olbrich Berlin German handbag, ladies and gentlemen. Lot 206 then, let's go to the certificate of authenticity. Kef Olbrich multicolor on cream tea time, hand-painted Olbrich tea time bag, signed by the artist along the lower edge, executed by Kef in 2025. And John, what have we sold his handbags for on the show before? Over 20,000, wasn't it?
Actually, 35 and 40,000.
35 and 40,000 they've made on the show before. I knew it was over 20,000. I couldn't quite remember. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a chance. I'm going to start this one at only $3,000, and we'll sell it to the highest bidder. When that clock runs out, it's selling. Here's Leif.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're so excited that Kef is in the studio with us. This is a big name in contemporary art, ladies and gentlemen, taking the world by storm, just like the Karl Strykers, just like the Banksys, just like the Bambis. Kef, ladies and gentlemen, emerged during Berlin's 2010 street art renaissance, along artists like Jean Avignon. Now, his unique aesthetic, clean lines, modular curves, rhythmic movement, quickly distinguished him from more aggressive graffiti styles, and his murals began appearing internationally. Let's go to my screen. You're going to see an example of one of his major murals. They began appearing internationally and by the late 2010s. Here's his museum. Ladies and gentlemen, this work that you're seeing here is in the permanent collection of a museum. It's not only a museum exhibited in a museum, it's in their permanent collection. People pay money to go and see his art in museums right now. You have a chance to bid on it. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. People pay money to see his art in museums. You have a chance to bid on it. And ladies and gentlemen, he has executed major commissions, not only for the likes of BMW, for the likes of Porsche. Yes, he's painted on these absolute phenomenal cars. Even has wine labels. Ladies and gentlemen, first museum solo show in Germany. I can't count on my fingers how many solo shows have been, let alone in Germany, let alone in Europe. Do you understand what's happening? This is a young man. He's already conquered the world of art completely. This is that museum exhibition. The entire museum for him, an entire solo museum exhibition. So this is not only, folks, an exhibition in an art gallery. This is an exhibition in a museum. Understand the difference. Here he is from major corporate headquarters. He was the official artist also for the World Cup in Qatar. Think about the exposure. Over 1 billion people watched the final of the World Cup in Qatar, ladies and gentlemen. There's that massive sculpture that was done for Qatar. Here he is, that event. I'm sure you loved that, Kev, when you met Robert Plant. That was the very, very big event that we held in the UK. Richard was the auctioneer. That was
who is Robert Plant, by the way?
As mentioned, for Led Zeppelin, the singer for Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
Led Zeppelin. Sorry,
how much did that sell for, Richard?
Only $50,000.
Only $50,000.
$50,000 for the painting. It was donated by Kev to the charity, ladies and gentlemen. So he does many, many great things for charity. We're only at 4,000 on this. I'll give you one last minute. It's about to sell, ladies and gentlemen. Acquire this now. You are looking at the German equivalent of Banksy, a European art star. He is our #1 selling artist on the show, has been for the last 7 years since he joined us. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't get an opportunity. I'm going to have a dedication for you, a private dedication. So if you wanted something ultra special for the lady in your life, for the holidays, you know it's coming up, with a personal dedication by the artist, now is your chance. 1 minute clock, then it's gone. Here we go.
Let's go back to my screen, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you an idea of what is available online for sale of his artwork, here's one at $56,000. Now, you're probably wondering about the bags. What are they selling for? Well, here's Kev when he did a collaboration with Louis Vuitton. There's Kev right over there. Here is one bag for sale at $42,000. So here's a Kev bag for $42,000. Ladies and gentlemen, you're dealing with Ulbrich Bollin. This is a renowned German luxury bag manufacturer. Began as part of Ulbricht's initiative to merge artisanal craftsmanship with contemporary art. Now, Kev, did you say this is the only one there is right now? Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand what you're bidding on is the only one in the world. I mean, just think about this for a second. You've got one of the most influential contemporary European artists on our show right now, flew in from Berlin. You are getting one of his newest releases. It's the first one in the world. Now, folks, if you are watching right now, realize the opportunity that you have, okay? You are dealing with an artist, and Richard, look, Richard does not come with the bag, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, but he might be able to pose it for you. How about that? His purpose with the work is to bring all of his works, that meditative, that positive energy aesthetic, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, his art has encompassed and flourished around the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at a hand-painted bag by Kev. This is the only one and the first one in the world.
Well, Leif, great information there. And as you just saw there, they sell for over 40,000, some of these hand-painted bags. It's on sale with you at 4.6. It's with New York at 4.6. 4.6 is bid. Sorry, Ty's bidder at 4.6. 4.6, New York, you're the underbidder. At 4.6 with Ty's bidder. Let's find out where Ty's bidder's from. New Jersey. New Jersey is bid. 4.6 is bid. 4.6 bid. 4.6 bid. 4.6 bid. 4.6 bid. 4.6 bid. Is there 7 now? 4.6. Come on, New York. 4.6. New Jersey in the lead. 4.7. 4.7 with New York. At 4.7. 4.7 with New York. 4.7. How about 5,000? How about 5,000 now? At 4.7 bid. At 4.7 bid, I'm selling. At 47, get a bid at 4.7. 4.7 bid. At 4.7 bid. At 4.7 bid. At 4.7 bid. Is there 5 now? At 4.7 bid. At 4.7 bid. 4.7 only. 4.7 only. 4.7 I'm selling. 4.7 it's going. 4.7. Come on, New Jersey. 4.7 last chance, last call. At 4.7 with New York. Give me 5. At 4.7 give me 5. At 4.7 bid. At 4.7 bid. Give me 5 now. At 4.7 bid. 4.7. 4.7 bid. Selling and going, then going once. Last call. Last chance. 4-7, Ty, you've been a good bidder. Don't lose it. 4-7, I got New York now at 4-7 bid. 4-7 bid. 4-8 bid. 4-8 bid. 4-8 bid. 4-8 bid. New bidder, Florida at 4-8 bid with Florida. At 4-8 now 5. At 4-8 now 5. At 48 bid. At 48, get a bid at 4-8. 4-8 bid. At 4-8 bid. Selling and going. Ty, last chance. 4-8 is bid. 4-8 and selling. Going once. We've got to go. Sorry. 4-8 bid. 5,000. 5,000 bid. 5,000 bid. 5,000 California. 5,000 with California. At 5, get a bid of 5 at 5. Over 40,000, did you say, Leif? Over 40,000?
One of his bags, yes. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to my screen, please. I want to show you another example of one of his bags at 42,000. This is a Kef done with a Louis Vuitton bag. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are bidding on is the first time ever. This is the only one in the world. Let's go back to the work of art. So what you're bidding on, just released. Kef is in the studio with us, flew in from Berlin. This is a brand new release. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's executed on an Oldbrich tea time bag produced by one of Germany's leading luxury bag studios, which means the object combines contemporary art with award-winning craftsmanship. It is signed by Kef on the lower edge, which means it has the full authorial presence and documentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the only one in the world. Again, the artist is here this morning with us. He is a leading street artist. You think of Banks, you think of Bambi. Richard.
Then we're selling now 6,000. Little power bid there by New York. At 6,000 it goes. At 6,000 bid. At 6,000, anyone else, yes or no? Going once then. Very low for this. At 6,000, twice 6,000. So, New York, well done, 6,000. Give them a round of applause at 6,000. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to give you the second option. Again, Simon, if I could just ask you to come in. This second option here, you've done it in black this time with the gold and the red. Congratulations to New York there. Again, this is the Oldbrich brand, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. They also have always this like a kind of a certificate where there's a unique number.
Okay, a unique number for each bag. So each one is uniquely branded and handmade, ladies and gentlemen, in Germany. And then again, it's the only one you've done like this completely. So I love his work when he works in gold on the black contrast, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got an opportunity to bid on this beauty now. Leif, Kef, very, very similar. I get a bit mixed up. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful to have you here, Simon. What do you got planned? What's coming up next in your busy itinerary?
I mean, first now I fly back to Berlin and then Hong Kong.
Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a show over there coming up?
Yeah, like the event which we are planning. And then what is coming? And then I go to mainland China for another event.
Wow.
And then...
Anything in Europe coming up? In the new year?
No, I keep some time off for the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, I will disappear for some time.
Yeah, he likes to disappear now and again, and
yes.
he goes off the radar, but it's for a very good reason, because actually you are then focusing, because your work is very, spiritual and Zen-like. How did you actually come to doing this design? Because the thing about his work, ladies and gentlemen, is the mark of a true artist, a great artist. I look like Michael Jackson here, only one glove. But ladies and gentlemen, the mark of a true artist, a special artist, is when you see their work one time, and then you never have to look, oh, who's that by? You never have to look for the signature. You know instantly it's by Picasso, or it's by Miro, or it's by Dali, or Chagall, or Banksy, or Kef. So very, very distinctive. He's the only one in the world like this, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really, really amazing form of art. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning.
Thank you.
We'll have you back in a few minutes. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the second option then for you to bid on, the Oldbrush bag. I'm going to start this one at half of what the other one just made, and I'm a bit short of time, so I'm just going to have to put up a 2-minute clock once I've read the certificate. So let's have a look at the certificate then. And once again, it is the KEF Oldbrush multicolour on black Charlie bag, hand-painted Oldbrush Charlie bag with straps, signed by the artist along the lower edge, executed by KEF in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give you a full 2 minutes, and it has actually this beautiful red border on the top there, ladies and gentlemen, so just so you can see the piece. And then on the reverse side, it is left plain, but on the front side, again, hand-painted. Again, this is something that should be in a presentation box in your home. It is certified. 2-minute clock. Here's Leif. Good luck.
All right, well, ladies and
3,000
gentlemen,
stars.
we have a phenomenal opportunity for each and every one of you. The last one, congratulations on the last one. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the only ones in the world like this. These were painted this year by KEF. He's here in the studio with us. And here is KEF's mural language into a functional object. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to my screen. Typically, when you look at some of his works, let's go back to the work of art, please. Typically, when you look at some of his works, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to find that not only has he taken the world by storm in terms of being a critically acclaimed artist at this juncture in his life. He's a young man. He's been commissioned by Fortune 500 companies. Has garnered a one-man exhibition in Germany. His works of art have sold in excess of $70,000, ladies. Just go to my screen now. This is an example of a Louis Vuitton bag that he painted in collaboration with Louis Vuitton at $42,000. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand, let's go back to the work of art. What you're bidding on is the only one in the world. It's the only one in the world, and it's executed on a luxury Oldbrush tea time bag. This is produced by one of Germany's leading handmade luxury bag studios. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are really, not only are you bidding on something that is unique, nobody else, think about this. He is one of the leading street artists on the planet. What you're bidding on was done this year. It is the only one in the world. The Louis Vuitton handbags that he's painted are selling for $42,000. Right now, folks, right now, you're only at $3,100. It is so grossly underbid. It is so grossly underbid, ladies and gentlemen, that if you are watching, this is that moment. Sometimes we've been thinking, oh, I really would like to get something in my life that nobody else has, something exclusive, something so special. Well, this is it. This is it. This is that piece, ladies and gentlemen. And collectors, fashion houses, interior designers are increasingly seeking objects that merge that aesthetic impact, indeed, with that real-world use. And the shift elevates items like this KEF hand-painted bag, which bridges street art, it bridges craftsmanship, and indeed boutique design. Ladies and gentlemen, understand that the demand for urban contemporary art has risen steadily over the past decade. And Art Basel's 2023 market report noted a significant increase in collector interest for younger contemporary artists with global recognition. Who is KEF? KEF is a young contemporary artist with global recognition. This is where the art trends are going to. I do a lot of research on the fairs that happen around the world. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you are jumping on a very quickly moving train of contemporary street artists.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's selling now. 3,535 is bid. The other one just sold for 6,000. I think that was New York. Am I correct? I can't remember. Yeah, okay, 6,000 it went. Congratulations. 3,500. I'm about to sell it. I'll give you the final 60 seconds. It's going, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm selling now. Leif, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts on this is that this bag represents a powerful combination of contemporary urban art, disciplined craftsmanship, and indeed functional design. Ladies and gentlemen, what I find remarkable is that it reflects Kef's signature meditative flow. That's what you're seeing on this work of art. While maintaining that sculptural elegance Oldbridge is known for. This is a big-time luxury bag. So they collaborated together with Kef to create this. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's the only one in the world. It is simply not an accessory. This is a one-of-a-kind. It is not an accessory. This is wearable artwork created during the peak, ladies and gentlemen, right now of Kef's international career. Now, by the way, collectors who appreciate objects that bridge fashion, that bridge design, that bridge fine art, this piece is exceptionally strong. It has rarity. It has direct artistic involvement. It has design pedigree. It has a visual impact, ladies and gentlemen, that completely stands out, immediately identifiable. You walk into a gallery with many, many artists. Typically, when you see Kef's art, it stands out. It's that kind of art, ladies and gentlemen, that stands out. That's why Qatar commissioned him to be one of the artists, official artists for the World Cup. The likes of BMW, the likes of Porsche, and the list goes on. Richard.
Thank you very much. 3,800 is bid. 3,800. 38 is bid. 3,800. 3,800 is bid. Alabama in the lead at 38. 3,800. 3,800 on the original Kef bag at 38. I love the colours in this one. The way that is brought in the red here, ladies and gentlemen, the tones of red to match the actual make of the bag there at 38. Don't forget, each one is certified limited edition. And from the actual bag manufacturer, they only make a limited amount of these. But ladies and gentlemen, each one is uniquely painted. So it's the only one in the world. It's selling now at 38. Got a bit of 38, 38, 38. Last chance, John. Alabama in the lead at 38, and I'm selling at 3,800. At 3,800. Stay. Being very naughty. What are you doing? 3,800 is bid. I can't quite get the, there we go. I'm going to have to put the strap like that. There we go. 38 is bid. At 38, got a bit of 38, 38 with Alabama. It's going then at 38 bid. Remember, the last one just went for 6,000 to New York at 38 bid. 39 just in time. 39 is bid. At 39, got a bit of 39. 39 is bid. 39, Illinois at 3,900. 39, 39. It's Michael's bidder at 3,900. 3,900 with Illinois at 39. At 3,939 bid. 39 bid. I'm selling at 3,900. At 3,900. At 39. 39. 4,000. 4,000 bid. 4,000. 4,000 bid. 4,000 bid. 4,000 bid. 4,000 bid. 4,000. 4,000 bid. 4,000 bid. 4,000 bid. 4,000 bid. Another one at 4,000. 4-1 with Cassie's bidder this time. At 41. At 41, got a bit of 4-1, 4-1 only. At 41 with Cassie's bidder. At 41 bid. At 41, got a bit of 4-1, 4-1 bid. 41 selling and going. 41 it goes once. At 41. At 41, got a bit of 4-1. At 4-1 bid. 4-1 bid. Selling and going. 4-1. 4-1 it's on sale. 42. 42 bid. 42 bid. 42 bid. 42. How about 4-5? At 42 bid. At 42. 43 new bidder. At 43 it's going. At 43 bid. At 44. 44 I'm selling. At 44 last chance. At 43. 43. 44. 44 is bid. 44 I'm selling. At 44. At 44 I'm selling. Take 5. 44. Take 5. At 44 and it's going. At 44 bid. At 44 going to bid a 4444 bid. At 44 low for this. 6,000 the other one. 4,400. 44 it's going. At 45. 45 with Cassie. Selling and going. At 45 and it goes. At 45 going once. At 45 you're out. Thanks for bidding. At 45 with Cassie then. Get ready to give a round of applause. Get ready. At 45 going once, twice. So 45. Thank you very much. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We got something very, very special for you now. So again, if you want to call in and double check that they both went through, you are more than welcome. First one went for 6,000. I can't believe that only made 4 or 5. But again, congratulations, Cassie, on that piece. That was unbelievable. Well done to you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got something very special for you. It comes from his museum show. Let's have a look at this fantastic piece. And ladies and gentlemen, it is hand signed. It is painted, unbelievably, 5 areas. So you've got 5-sided original painting, the famous totems from his museum show. And remember, to be a museum artist while you're alive is practically unheard of. So, to do a solo show in a gallery, yes, big achievement for any living artist. But to have a solo exhibition in a museum and nothing else in there, only you, is unheard of. Ladies and gentlemen, up next, a very interesting video from Germany of Kef's museum exhibition. Here we go.
For the very first time, a German art museum is dedicating a solo exhibition to the painter, draftsman, and urban artist known as Kef. The installation, entitled Cosmic Raindrops in the Forest, opened last week to a large crowd. The exhibit, I Watch Helplessly as Flowers Wither, displays a purposeful installation with aerosol sprayed drawings on large sculptural squares and cubes throughout the hall. Visitors are asked to immerse themselves in this unique spatial experience. The viewers become one with the grandiose and rousing lines which is part of this great verb. The world is getting to know Kef, and Cosmic Rain is the first of many future museum shows for this international talent.
Back, we are live from our studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, in 2018, Kef was painting a public mural in Hong Kong when a local journalist asked him why his lines always seem to flow in a single, uninterrupted motion. Now, Kef explained that his technique began after a meditation retreat in Thailand years earlier, when he realized that line work could be a breathing exercise. Now, that statement, ladies and gentlemen, recorded in the Art Reveal magazine, became the defining explanation of his style. Every line is a breath. Every curve is a moment of calm. The approach set Kef apart from the high-energy graffiti of Berlin and positioned him as an innovator in contemplative urban art. Now, ladies and gentlemen, another widely repeated anecdote comes from London's Shoreditch district. During a late-night painting session, Kef created a multi-layered mural without preliminary drawing. That is this spontaneity. Now, what you're looking at is very, very special indeed. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to my screen. Besides the fact that he has created commissions for BMW, for Porsche, he even has the wine labels, his first museum show in Germany, what you are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly the kind of style, the kind of works that he was exhibiting, which are these painting on wooden box microcosms. This one is entitled Microcosms of Serenity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this work belongs to his newest body of work. Let's go back to the work of art created this year. So this is a brand new release created this year, and the series reflects the long-standing commitment that Kef has to creating pockets of calm in a fast-moving world. Now, instead of murals spanning entire walls, Kef designed these wooden box compositions as intimate, three-dimensional micro-environments. Phenomenal works of art already exhibited in museums. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most unusual and one of the most extraordinary and rare works that you can find in contemporary art, especially belonging to a big name like Kef. It is executed entirely by hand, and each work, ladies and gentlemen, is a unique meditation on energy, on color, on movement. He created a series, by the way, to allow collectors, yes, collectors, you watching right now, to own concentrated forms of the peaceful rhythm present in the large-scale public works. Richard.
Thank you very much, Leif. Here we go then, lot 307. Lot 307, Microcosms of Serenity number 7. It is the famous totem, original from the museum exhibition, original acrylic painting on wooden box, signed and dated and titled by the artist under the base. I'm going to put on the gloves again to show you that. It is a unique work. It was executed by Kef in 2025, and ladies and gentlemen, it's extremely rare. Simon, could I borrow you again? What made you, thank you very much for joining us. How was your flight, by the way?
Oh, easy. I love flying because I can switch off.
Yeah, you can actually get to sleep, can you?
Yeah, but I also love to read books. And in an airplane, no one can reach out to you.
Oh, yeah.
So I love to bring books on the plane.
So your phone's not going crazy, and galleries around the world, etc., wanting you here, there, and everywhere. So what made you come up with the idea for the museum, the exhibition itself?
In Goch, you mean, no? So I wanted to create my own universe there. So because they gave me a big room, so I was thinking I want to create my own forest. So I was calling it Cosmic Raindrops in the Forest of Serenity. And yeah, so this is a reflection of my inner life. And I wanted that people can walk through it and not only can see it, so I installed also a sound installation, and it was the sound which was in the video before. And there's also a nice story because in the middle there was a bench, and later when I left already, it was maybe 2 weeks later, I got a message of a young man, and he told me that he was visiting the show and he was sitting down on the bench in the middle of the whole installation, and then he was telling me that one of his best friends, he passed away. And so when he was sitting down there, it was the first time after he passed away that he could really calm down again and recollect his thoughts, because he got really confused after his death. And so he just sent me a message and he said, thank you for that. And so at the end, that's why I'm doing all this, because I want to benefit this also, that it's a benefit for other people, not just for me.
Thank you so much. Well, you and I, we flew to England. Well, in fact, I came from America, you came from Germany. And we flew to do that big event last year with all the stars from Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant, the famous singer. Wasn't it amazing? He sang Stairway to Heaven for the first time in 16 years. He'd never sung it, and he sang it live on stage. I think someone bid about $20,000 for him just to sing Stairway to Heaven. It was a big charity event to aid cancer. You do so much for charity, and that's why I think people love you around the world for what you do. But this is a great piece. I just got to show you the top of it as well. So it's painted on 5 sides, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very, very rare totem, and I think there is something on the bottom here. Would you dedicate something to one of the bidders here? Whoever's the top bidder on the original here? Of course. So there we have the title there, Microcosms of Serenity number 7, Kef 2025, from the museum exhibition, Simon Rowland. Ladies and gentlemen, it is on sale. It's going to the highest bidder. I'll give you one last minute with Leif. Thank you, Simon. We'll have you back in a moment for, we've had an opening bid on your big original, so that's coming in. Thank you very much. Here's Leif.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at is a work of art created this year, brand new release. And the most important thing to remember is that this shape, this form, these wooden box microcosms is what Kef was exhibiting in the one-man show in Berlin. So these are museum pieces. ladies and gentlemen. That's what you're bidding on. This is the caliber of the artist that you are bidding on. Kev has quickly risen to become an internationally renowned artist, not only, ladies and gentlemen, because of his style that stands out so much, because of the confluence of meditation, of stillness, of sinuous lines. Let's go back to my screen. Again, gained his fame and popularity. This is one of the most famous murals in the world. In fact, there's a list of 100 famous murals in the world. This is one of them by Kev. This is the museum. This is an official, a permanent work of art in the museum collection. Imagine that. Most artists are in a museum when they passed away, folks. There's not many artists who are alive whose works not only are in a museum, but in a permanent collection. Think about that. That's for the sake of posterity. He's a young man. BMW painted for them. Porsche, wine labels. First museum show in Germany. That's part of that museum exhibition, folks. There's the museum exhibition. You see those big wooden boxes? People paid money to go and see those. You're bidding on it now. You're having a chance to bid on this. I mean, when was the last time you had a chance to bid on a work of art by a contemporary master who's already in permanent museum collections? When was the last time? If you say never, well, there you have it. You've never had that opportunity. So take it, folks. Take it. Here's the corporate offices. By the way, Kev, I just wanted to ask you, for this, these offices, corporate offices, where are they exactly? Where did you paint this?
This one was in the Pullman Hotel in Hong Kong.
It's just in Hong Kong, the hotel in Hong Kong.
That was...
so how about while you're having breakfast, you're looking at Kev's works. I love it. And of course, the World Cup, we've showed you, ladies and gentlemen, the World Cup of soccer. Think about that. 8 billion people in this planet. 1 billion, 1 out of 8 people watch the World Cup of soccer final, Richard.
4,000 is bid, 4,000 only, 4,000 bid, 4,000 California, thank you. At 4,000, you're up bright and early, California. How much? 45. Good bid, 4-5, where are they from? 4-5 is bid. 4-5, 4-5, 4-5 is bid. 4-5 with Illinois. 4-5, 4-5. Come on. At 45. At 45 and I'm selling. At 45, get a bit of 4-5, 4-5 bid. At 45. At 45, get a bit of 4-5 and going. At 45 with Illinois. You did say Illinois there, Charlie. 45, thank you. At 45 is bid. At 45, get a bit of 4-5 bid. At 45 on the original then from the museum exhibition going once, at 4,500, going twice, at 4-5, the gavel's high, sold, Illinois, well done. Well done, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Now you can always call in, again, double check if it's still available, and John will let you know, thank you, John, if it's available. So we did have an opening bid. In fact, we got 3 people interested on this one, and we have an opening bid now of $14,000. Thank you very, very much to our bidder from Florida at $14,000. We're going to open the bidding on this, ladies and gentlemen. It is our final lot. Again, this will be dedicated to the top bidder. Now, I've sold large canvases, just a fraction larger than this on the show, ladies and gentlemen, at $69,300 was the record for a large canvas. It was hung on the wall, it was so big. But ladies and gentlemen, a great, great piece, and that bidder is very, very happy with it because they know with their hand on their heart, I can see this artist in years to come, his large canvases, they're going over 100,000 now. Once you break that $100,000 barrier, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't go 105, 110, 115, no. It goes 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 400, 500, then $1 million. That's how the art world works. That is the way it works. It doesn't go up in small increments once you get past that $100,000 barrier. So he's on that 100,000 threshold right now for large canvases, ladies and gentlemen. This is hand signed. It is an original, and it is called Stillness Holds Light number 2. I'll show you the full back of it later. But ladies and gentlemen, let's play you a quick video. It is an extremely large piece, and this is a collector's opportunity at $14,000 is the opening bid right now. Thank you to the 3 of you for starting me. Let's get going with the auction then. Here is a quick video.
Every line, every curve, every color, every breath held, and every breath released. Art is created. Every moment spent in Berlin, creating this style. Every moment spent in Shanghai, mastering this style. Every moment of doubt, every moment of joy. Hours painting, years of creating. Harmony, peace, tranquility. With every collaboration, with every exhibition, his name grows.
Sold! California!
Sold it under my
Sold.
sold at $41,000.
Sold at 63.
With every hammer drop and every piece sold, now is the time for Kev.
What a great work of art, ladies and gentlemen. And this, is breaking records all around the world now. We've got an opportunity. What's the bid now, John, please?
16,000.
Okay, 16,000 is bid. And where is our bidder from? Connecticut. You're in the lead at 16,000. Thank you. Lot 309. Let's go to the certificate of authenticity. And he's here live in the studio. We know that. So let's put up the website now if you want to have a look. Ladies and gentlemen, Kev, German artist born in 1989. Stillness Holds Light, number 2. Stillness Holds Light, number 2 in the series. It is the original acrylic painting on canvas, signed, dated and titled by the artist on the verso. A unique work executed by Kev in 2025. 16,000 Connecticut. You are in the lead at the moment. I would say a fair bid for this, ladies and gentlemen. In all honesty, if you get this under 50,000 here, not in a gallery, you won't get it in a gallery for 50,000. If you get it here under 50,000, I think that is something. Acquire it, cherish it. I'm going to have him dedicate the piece for you. We'll do it on beautiful certificate paper. We'll have it put together with your documentation. Look after it, acquire it, enjoy it. And ladies and gentlemen, I wish your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren great fortune in the future by acquiring it now. Wouldn't you have liked to have bought a Banksy 15 years ago? Here's Leif. Let's give you 2 minutes. Here we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're bidding on here is a one-of-a-kind, unique work of art. This is not part of an edition, which means collectors acquire an irreplaceable artwork with singular exclusivity. Ladies and gentlemen, we have sold works smaller than this for $70,000. Smaller than this. You're at 16,000. I want to show you, let's go to my screen, an example of something smaller. This is about half the size of what you're bidding on. Look at the price of this. This is 56,000. This is about half the size of what you're bidding on, folks. You're at 16.5. This is extremely underbid. Let's go back to the work of art. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you walk in to a museum in Germany and you see his works on the wall, people don't often expect artists that are featured in museums to have price points that are still affordable. Well, the fact of the matter is, this is extremely underbid compared to a fair, what we call the fair market value. You are, if I would have to be conservative, I would say you're at least $40,000 to $50,000 below fair market value on this. This is an original, one of a kind. Only one of you on the planet will own this. And it is an original by one of the top 5 most famous living street artists. I could say that with confidence. And the reason I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because of the critical acclaim. The artist's price point, the artist's accomplishment, the published literature, commissions. In other words, the work that an artist has done to make a name for themselves is ultimately what is going to be their placeholder in history. Now, with Kev, not only has he reached the top of the top, with very high escalating prices, with major commissions for Urban Outfitters, for PayPal, BMW, Porsche, official artist, ladies and gentlemen, for the World Cup of Qatar. Don't forget the World Cup of Soccer, the final. That is the most watched spectator sport on the planet, and he was one of the official artists. There are 8 billion people. Only one of you is going to get it, Richard.
That's absolutely correct, Leif. Now, someone has just called in. They want to bid on it, but they want to know the measurements of it one last time. So this is a 4-foot ruler. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put that one in at, we've got 42 there. It's just over, actually, 43 on the width. And I'm going to have to take 2 measurements here because it is a 4-foot ruler. 48. And let's just see here. Ladies and gentlemen, 48 plus another 10. 58. 58 high. 58 by 43. Can we just change the size there? It's just over 42. It's 43, ladies and gentlemen. So that is a 4-foot ruler. There you see it. I'm 6'2". Eyes are blue. 4 feet. This is over 5 feet, ladies and gentlemen. A wonderful canvas and one of the largest in the world. I've got to show the back of this. John, could you help me for a second? We're bid 18,000, I see. Did we find out who's in the lead there?
Colorado.
Colorado. Stillness holds light number 2. KEF 2025, Simon Rowland, hand signed. Bids are coming in. John is busy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Simon, would you join me for one last moment? We've only got about a minute or 2 left of the show. Get your bids in now, ladies and gentlemen. If you get this under 50,000, believe me, you will thank me in the future. Simon, you've been amazing. You look great, actually, considering you flew all the way from Germany yesterday. So it's great to have you here. You're going to be appearing on the show tonight. We have another new collection for you, some great pieces, so again you can check your local listings, but it's such an honor doing this show on CNBC, and I love it. It's only 2 hours, but it's quick, and it gets me awake in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. So a few last words from Simon, then I'm dropping the hammer. 20,000, who's in the lead, John? Illinois. Here's Leif in a second to say goodbye, but let's hear from Simon first. Final words from you, Simon, about your canvases.
The canvases are for me always a way where I can, because I connect to the transcendental world, and I want to make this kind of feelings visible. So that's why I love to paint on canvas or paper as well, but mostly canvas. And yeah, so that's more, I would say, from the transcendental into the materialistic world. That's the base of my work.
Well, let's give a big round of applause, thank you. Actually, although he's in huge demand all around the world, you're really quite a private, quiet person, aren't you? You can tell that by his character. He's not like me, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, Simon, it's been great having you here. Let's hand it back to Leif. Leif, your final thoughts. Thank you, Simon. KEF.
Ladies and gentlemen, my final. Urban contemporary art continues to be featured in major institutions. It is the newest, the most vibrant. This is the new style of the future. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, urban art has laid its foundation within the 21st century. You're looking at the first major art movement. Not only that, but you're looking at one of the main players. This is the young man that is leading the vanguard together with Banksy, together with Bambi. They are leading the vanguard of street art. This is quickly becoming the most respected and one of the fastest rising art movements, ladies and gentlemen, this century. It is dominating this century. You've heard about Banksy. You've heard about street art. But that is it. Folks, bid with confidence. It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, bid strong. Thank you. Bye for now. Back to Richard.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a great honor hosting the show with Leif and our wonderful guest artist. One more round of applause for Simon. Thank you, Simon. Thanks for joining us, Hippie, live on the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Check your local listings. 20,000, we're still at the bid, ladies and gentlemen. Anything under 50, you've done incredibly well. We'll be back next Saturday morning with another fantastic auction. But right now, the bid goes on. Have a great weekend.